Hello and welcome to Talk from Superheroes. Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Ivamy.
And I'm Diana McCullum.
And you're listening to Talk from Superheroes, where every week we discuss a piece of heroic television or film. And this week on the podcast, we're talking about The Penguin.
The Penguin, the television show. It's starring, you know who it's starring?
Lay it on me.
Colin Farrell.
That's the man, the HBO original miniseries.
Is it called HBO Max now? Or is it just Max?
Where is
this show? You don't care.
I don't
Andrew
give a shit.
Care.
I don't give a shit. It's the HBO original miniseries, The Penguin. If David Zaslav wants to come for me, I'd
love to have a conversation with David Zaslav.
Motherfucker, I wish you would.
Yeah. I would beat the Coyote versus Acme movie out of you. I want to see that thing so bad.
Yeah, I would exchange words.
Oh, just words.
And hands.
I really have made a threat on camera.
Well,
no one tell him I did that.
that's between us.
That's between us, listeners.
That's between us.
Little secret. I'm just got the Penguin vibes.
Yeah, you got the Penguin
of like
vibes.
getting shit done.
I understand. It's the miniseries The Penguin. Today we are going to be talking about the first 3 episodes of The Penguin. For those of you who listened to last week's episode of the podcast, I said we were covering 4 episodes. That was a lie. I was wrong, and I lied to you. We're not covering 4 episodes. We're covering 3 episodes of The Penguin.
But please know that he didn't know he was lying.
Yes.
It wasn't like an intentional I'm going to get him. Mm-hmm. So if you don't know, this weekend is Canadian Thanksgiving. So we're a little busy.
We're busy. We're doing stuff.
You're probably doing stuff. You haven't seen episode 4 yet.
You
haven't seen episode 4.
Be thankful for something, you know?
Be thankful that you're getting 3 episodes.
Go for a walk. What does that mean? What does that mean?
I mean, they're good for your mental health.
Go on one of your stupid little mental health walks.
If you're on a walk right now while you listen to a podcast, 'cause that's a very good time to listen to a podcast, great work. You've done it.
That's what I do. So we're talking about that today on the podcast. Since this is a new television show, anytime that we talk about a new TV show or movie, we always give you a spoiler-free review in case you're on the fence about seeing it and just want a taste of the episode before we get into the full thing. Then once you hear the theme music, that is when we will enter the spoiler-filled section of the episode. So for the spoiler-free review, first 3 episodes of The Penguin, we'll start with the usual, the simple question. Diana, do you like it?
I really like it. I'm surprised how much I like it because I was not excited about this show. When they announced it, I thought it was kind of dumb. Even though I really liked Colin Farrell and I thought he was good as the Penguin, I was like, who's asking for this? He's not really Penguin-y. There's no rogues. There's barely any Batman. He's just a gangster. And it really is just a gang war show. I don't dislike those, but I don't seek them out. So I was like, I don't know if this will be for me, but I really, really like it. He's wildly charming. Actually, all 3 leads are phenomenal. They're all so interesting to watch. They're charming, they're funny, but they're dangerous and they're scary. And it's like you're on the edge of your seat, but you're not too close to the edge. I'm always like, oh no, but I'm not like, this is causing me true anxiety to the point where I don't enjoy it, which some of these shows can kind of do, like a Breaking Bad or something. Every now and then you're like, my bones are going to crack from anxiety. So I really just love the vibes. It's charming, it's fun. The pacing is incredible. Every episode's an hour, but it doesn't feel like it, which is hugely hard to do to make me forgive the less than 52-minute runtime or more than 52 minutes. Surprised how much I am high-liking to maybe even loving The Penguin. Andrew, do you like it?
I love it.
Andrew loves it!
I love it. I'm with you. I think it's fantastic. I think that every performance is incredible.
Everyone, they are.
You know, the main leads, certainly. But I mean, anyone who even has a line in this goddamn thing is crushing it. Everyone is hitting home runs every second. And very similar to you, I had no expectations. I would say my expectations for this would be that it would be kind of fine but forgettable. Because similar to you, where I'm like, he gave a great performance as Penguin. We liked the Batman movie, but I didn't know what cachet this property had. No one was clamoring for it, but it's a bunch of competent people making a thing that no one was really asking for. So I expected it to be competent. I expected it to be competent and to have an episode where we're like, that's fine. But it rules. It is incredible. It is
really good.
It's so well shot. It's so well performed. It's so engaging. I am sincerely invested in all of the characters. It's The Sopranos Breaking Bad set in Gotham.
I also wrote Sopranos Breaking Bad. I wrote Breaking Bad first, so I wrote Breaking Bad Sopranos.
It has vibes of both, obviously, and even like. And when I say vibes, I even mean that beyond the surface level, not just Sopranos in the sense of like, oh, there's a mafia crime family. It's not that, and not just like Breaking Bad in the sense of like, oh, a drug sale is involved. It shares the same themes and depth and uncertainty and comments about status and life and poverty and everything. It has depth underneath it. It has way more to say and do than it has any reasonable expectation to have brought to the table. It's phenomenal.
Listeners, I agree with everything Andrew said. So this will be what a nice relief after covering Joker 2 last week. Mm-hmm. Penguin topping Joker in quality. Love that for him.
I would say both of these are things that no one asked for, mm-hmm. and no one expected anything from, and one under-delivered and one way over-delivered.
I would completely disagree because Joker 1 made a ton of money. So it got a whole bunch more money to make Joker 2. A lot of eyes were on it.
Okay.
I think the fact that no one cared about the Penguin show meant the showrunners and writers could just do whatever they wanted, and they could just make a good show without any Zaslav interference.
Interesting.
They kind of just like went under the radar, like, don't even worry about it. No one's going to watch it. Don't worry about it.
Don't even worry about it. We're doing it.
Finish it. They're making a masterpiece just secretly in the depths of Gotham.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that it's very opposite of Joker.
Interesting. And can this be spoiled?
Not yet. Not really. I assume later it will be. Like maybe like small twists every episode, but I can't think of an overall moment where I've been like, oh.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I would feel kind of a similar of like it can kind of be spoiled in the sense that like it's a mafia gang tale. There are some moments of like, how's he getting out of this one? Like you've really talked yourself into a corner and be like, that person, it's probably gonna release a series of events that they died. So there are like moments that can softly be spoiled, but nothing that is kind of earth shattering so far. It's just a series of kind of normal twists and turns as it goes along.
Yeah, it's mob stuff. It's betrayals, it's deaths, but nothing like ground shaking yet. I would agree.
Yeah.
The biggest ground shake is the stuff that happened in the Batman when the actual city flooded. So we
so
know about that. Hope you've seen the Batman. Oops.
We hope you've seen we hope you've seen the Batman. Though the show does do a pretty good job of recapping it for those of you who haven't or have no memory of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of my notes is like, good recap.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that in a moment after we get into the spoiler-filled section. Before we do get into the spoiler-filled section of this episode, we want to thank one of our sponsors of today's episode. We want to thank our friends over at Cuddly.
We're going to thank our friends over at Cuddly because Cuddly is a fundraising platform that supports animal welfare organizations all over the world. And we love rescue animals. We got our dear sweet boy Scar.
We've got our paw dog Scar. You see him in the background of the videos sometimes, and like the clips that we put on our social media channels. Some people will be like, Scar! So he is a legend. He is a hero. He is in our hearts. And Cuddly supports over 4,000 shelters and rescues that trust Cuddly to raise funds and receive donations of supplies for the animals in their care. And it is so important to adopt and to help animals that require assistance. Like Scar means the absolute world to us, and it's so important that there are organizations and people out there taking care of animals like this, taking care of animals like Scar, and helping them find their forever homes and the happiness that they absolutely deserve in this world.
And it's so much time and energy and money to run these rescue corporations. Like he was a rescue from the States. We live in Canada. He had to be flown here. He had to be housed, had to be fed for several months. Like there's so much love and there's so much difficulty in doing this, but it's for such a good reason. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people who work with these organizations pour their whole heart and soul into this work. And I think that it is our responsibility and our kindness to help remove any obstacle that they can along the way, and organizations like Cuddly help that. What's also nice is they thoroughly vet and verify every rescue organization they work with, so you can be certain that your donation is actually going to an animal in need, which is also great because anytime I donate anything, I'm always like trying to vet the organization, and to have someone like Cuddly to be like, we've done that legwork, we've done the research for you. It certainly helps. And this way you don't need to choose just one animal to donate. Cuddly makes that easy too. When you make a one-time donation, Cuddly distributes the contributions to the animals and organizations with the greatest needs each month.
I absolutely love that because so many of these organizations are working so hard that they don't have time or money for like outreach, like social media posts and trying to fundraise. So just having this platform be like, they really need it. They don't have any social media reach, but they're doing such good work. It's
the facilitation, facilitating the help that these organizations need. It's
absolutely wonderful.
It's so important. And now your dollar goes even further. For every $20 donated through a one-time donation, Cuddly will gift a soft and snuggly blanket to a rescue animal in need. Head to cuddly.com/TFS today to make a donation and help make a difference. That's cuddly.com/TFS. And thank you for all of the wonderful work that you do, Cuddly.
Thank you, Cuddly.
And now let's get into the spoiler-filled section of the episode. Let's talk more about the Penguin. All right, we have seen the first 3 episodes of The Penguin. We are both having a fantastic time so far. Diana with a very good, me with a full-on love.
I could be talked into a love.
And we'll see where the episode takes us.
We'll see where we go on
we'll
this
see where
journey
we go.
with the Penguin.
How about that? But what a lovely surprise and delight this has been.
It really has been. I think because also the Batman came out 2 or 3 years ago now.
It feels like it's been a minute. Yeah,
right? It's been a minute. So I kind of even forgot what any of his Colin Farrell's performance was like or what the Penguin was like. Really the only even moment I remember from the Batman is when Batman runs him down with his car and is interrogating him and he's like, no habla español, and he translates the Spanish properly for it.
Yeah.
It just shows that Batman's a moron.
Yeah.
It's like a great moment. But it's literally the only thing I remember from the movie The Batman. So there's that. But yeah, I really love Colin Farrell here.
He is really giving it.
He is really giving it. I remember some people were upset that he wears prosthetics, which is a decent conversation to have about changing your face and your body type of different actors can just play that. But man, I really do have to say it doesn't look like him at all, but he also doesn't look like a man wearing prosthetics. And it really does just make you feel like you're watching The Penguin.
Yeah.
It's like when nobodies get cast as superheroes. I didn't know who Henry Cavill was when he got cast as Superman. So I was like, that's Superman. I love that. Because to me, that's just Superman. And this feels the same, even though I've seen so many Colin Farrell movies.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's the Penguin.
You do forget that he's in there.
Yeah,
you forget that he's in there.
In there.
Yeah, I agree. As much as so there have been conversations about particularly the weight suit that he wears in order to kind of transform per se into the Penguin. And there's a broader conversation around that in film and television. And I think that's one that's certainly worthy of being had. And I think it's one that kind of, for me anyway, and I know that everyone's response to this is going to be different, it'll vary from role and project as to whether or not it is done tastefully or whether it warrants that work. But I certainly encourage and think that there needs to be a broader conversation about whether or not it is okay for people to wear weight suits or whether or not you should be cast according to the role. I certainly think that suits like this are definitely the healthier mentally and physically than actors who try to drastically fluctuate their weight to disappear into roles. I like that Colin Farrell is able to do this and not have severe cardiac distress from having to gain and lose 150 pounds for roles like some other actors do.
He's not Christian Bailing.
Yes.
Yeah. Who has done, I think, 3 or 4 drastic weight changes in his career at least.
And it's not just the strain of gaining weight. It's the strain of fluctuations like that is wildly extreme. No doctor would recommend it. So I am glad that an actor gets to remain healthier than purposefully fluctuating. But I agree that there's bigger conversations that can be had there. But I agree with you. The prosthetics do look really good. He does disappear into it. And he really kind of uses it as a performer. I even saw an interview with him where he's like, you spend so much time as an actor trying to pretend that you're someone else, but you look in a mirror and you're like, no, I'm still actor Colin Farrell here today. But he was like, when I get into these prosthetics and this suit, I forget who I am, and I really do kind of get lost into the character, and it's easier for me to play it. And I really get that. And I think it shows in the series as well.
It shows in such weird ways because, yes, he has a very ease about his acting as the Penguin, but you don't feel like there's an ease in his body. Like, you're not like, oh, he moves so fluidly. Like, you think he actually does have a limp and he really is like that size, but he's also just so charming and fluid in his like speech patterns, and he's so confident in them, but he's also not like a wildly overconfident like you've seen Colin Farrell in other things, like he's playing like Bullseye or something.
Yeah.
So there is so many layers.
That was your go-to Colin Farrell. Classic. Classic.
For a confident man.
Sure. Okay.
Bullseye?
All right.
Wildly confident.
There we go.
I also totally blanked on any other Colin Farrell.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know his character's name in SWAT. I'm sorry. What else does he play?
Sure.
You name me a character he's played.
The character names?
That's
No,
what
I didn't. I would have had other movies, but yeah, no, I
see?
didn't have character names.
I had a character.
Okay, there you go.
So Bullseye. What was I saying? He's happy? Oh, he's having fun.
Yes.
He's having fun, and it's really taking the, like, yeah, he looks in the mirror, as you said, and he just is like, oh, shit, there's the Penguin. Bye, Colin. And it really does help.
Yeah.
I imagine it's great.
It really, and like it has, it's changed his physicality in a few different ways, just in terms of like gait and movement. Not just the like he does this side to side movement to kind of showcase the to showcase the whatever issue he has with his foot.
I don't know if we say clubfoot anymore or
the limp that he continues. But even beyond that, Colin Farrell is just a kind of like a very frenetic, engaged person who in most of his roles like has a reasonable amount of like head movement and eyes kind of dart around a little bit. Like he has a very natural way of speaking. Whereas even when it is just shoulders up in this, he's very locked in and unblinking and doesn't kind of fidget the way I'm used to seeing him in roles. And maybe that is an acting choice or just a side effect of everything that is built onto him for this role. But he seems very locked in and intense in a way that he isn't always. And I really like that for this character.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, because when he played Bullseye specifically, as his most famous role. I agree what you're saying. He had more of a frenetic energy. He's kind of always aware, looking over the place. But you're right. As Penguin, he completely locks in on whatever he's doing, which is actually even kind of weird because I feel like if you're a gangster and people might be trying to murder you at any time, you kind of would have more of a 360 degree about your head. But he really is like, I'm talking to who I'm talking to.
Yes.
And they get all my attention, and that's how this character has like moved up in the world, by being fully locked in at all times.
By being intelligent. Mm-hmm. Yeah, by being intelligent. And the way that they write his intelligence and the way that he is performing it as well is really brilliant and engaging. And this kind of goes back to like when we were saying in the spoiler-free review, things that it is similar to, not just in terms of surface level subject matter, but tone. And like Sopranos and Breaking Bad are the two that kind of stand out and come to mind. It feels very Breaking Bad to me in a lot of ways, particularly as well with this like mentor relationship with a younger person who is getting wrapped up in this life. But also it's very this like Walter White, I think I am the smartest person in the room. And that's actually not always true. And if I have to confront that, my ego actually can't handle it. Mm-hmm. That I think I'm the smartest person in the room, and even I like pretending that I'm the smartest person in the room, which feels like a very Walter White falling into the criminal underworld, which is like, I can play this character that you think you can take advantage of, but I actually think that I'm awesome and I actually really know what I'm doing. And sometimes he does, but sometimes everyone else notices that he thinks that of himself. And it feels very similar in those character traits.
Yeah, I can see that a little bit. It's not really how I was going to describe him at all.
Oh, lay it on me.
I was going to describe him. What I really like about this like razor thin performance he's doing is that I love that the Penguin is so charming, but he is not a man that you would describe as charming. He will charm you, and you will never be like, James Bond kind of just charmed, like not in a way a handsome man charms you. Like he will charm you by saying all the exact right things.
Yeah.
But he doesn't feel sniveling and annoying, which is usually what kind of these like underworld, like sub guys in a mob would be, of like, oh yeah, whatever you say, boss, you're the smartest, and then they're like plotting, they're like Starscream of the gang.
Yeah.
But I just find he is just so good at being charming and he makes you like him, but you're not walking away being like, what a charming man. You don't realize you've been charmed. It's like, I actually think he might be the smartest man in most rooms.
He's disarming.
Disarming is a good word.
Is what he is.
Yeah, to me, he feels like if Jeff Winger was in the mob.
Oh, I can see. Yeah, I can see that a little bit.
He's pretty good at a really inspirational speech to like turn you around. Like he got Vic to come back.
Yeah.
You know, he got Sophia to work with him. He's really good at like a turnaround speech.
Yeah, that is true. Now, where I would say he's not the smartest person in the room, though, is the fact that multiple other characters see through his bullshit and they let him play the act. And I really like even the opening scene of this series with the I forget the
I don't know Sophia's brother's name.
the other Falcone who doesn't make it. Alberto.
Doesn't make it.
Alberto Falcone who doesn't make it.
You act like he like tragically died of like a fatal disease and not being shot in the chest.
Well, he died of a fatal bullet. But Alberto Falcone, when they're having this conversation, and he's portrayed as an idiot, like a drug addict, a guy who can't keep it together, a guy who everyone's like, he's not ready to run this family. This dude is a mess. He's untrustworthy. He's sloppy. And in this conversation with Penguin, him just being like, yeah, you know my dad knew you were stealing. Like, you never got away with anything. We all knew, because by letting you get away with it, you were so self-satisfied that we could control you. And little things like that, where it's like every time we see Penguin succeed, there's someone else who's like, yeah, I fucking know what you're doing, dude. And but like, if it works for both of us, I'm going to allow it. Mm-hmm. So I agree that he is very intelligent, but he is a character who he thinks he's smarter than he actually is, and more people see through his bullshit than he likes to believe.
I can get behind that, because I think similarly when he sees, like, when he goes to visit Clancy Brown again for the second time in the prison, and Clancy Brown's like, you framed us for that guy's murder, and he's like, yeah, and he's like, yeah, I did, and he's like, yeah, we know it was you, but like, I'm gonna take credit, but we see what you did. You didn't fool us.
Yep. Yeah, and him just being like, but you're taking credit for it, aren't you? And then he rolls with the punches really well in any given scenario.
He's a good roller.
Yeah. He's a guy who like survives the car accident because he was drunk and went limp in a weird way. That's kind of his thing.
The way penguins can like go down an ice slide.
That's what he's just going down an ice slide all the time. It's just
ice
like
slide
that.
of life.
It's just like that.
That's
I love
why
it.
He's the penguin.
Everyone's talking about it.
We're talking about it.
Yeah. And I also really like to go back to that kind of introductory scene in episode 1 between him and Alberto as well. Him telling this, and it was like a little on the nose in a way that I really loved, of him telling this grandiose story about this mobster he looked up to. And it was this old kind of like Al Capone-esque figure, because it's like Capone used to like buy Thanksgiving turkeys for everyone who lived in the neighborhood and took care of everyone during the Depression. I believe it was Capone who did that, but nevertheless, this idea of like the the benevolent mobster, the one who was beloved by the community and actually was taking care of everyone. And Alberto just immediately going like, wait a minute, you think I want to be that? Do you fucking think you can? And him calling him out to be like, that's what you want to be, you idiot, and you're never going to be that. And that's what gets Alberto killed, is like, the penguin can't stand being seen. Mm-hmm. And that's part of the reason why he needs to think he's the smartest person in the room, is that when he's seen is when things get out of control and people just have to pretend not to see him, even though they know what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah, they have to like not tiptoe around him because he doesn't have as much power as those people, but like they do know how he thinks he's using them, but everyone is equally using him.
Yeah.
And he won't admit that.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
but there was something about like even the shithead Falcone, like knowing 100% knowing him to his core, knowing him, and the dumbest Falcone knows him to his core, but is too dumb not to shut his mouth about it, and that's what gets him killed. It's not that like he doesn't understand stuff. It's that he doesn't know to not say what he is seeing right now.
I mean, but also in that same vein, like, Penguin also purposely gave him drugs and alcohol to get him to open up. So Penguin also kind of played him in that scene, but then he sees him and he gets killed. It's
Fair.
beautiful.
There's a lot going on.
There's so much back and forth. It's a scene you could analyze for days. It really actually even like shows that Alberto, even though like you're like, oh, this guy's an idiot who's going to die even if Penguin doesn't kill him, is insightful, as you said.
Yeah.
And I really like that they add even these layers to Alberto who we don't who we don't really see it later because he's only in this one episode. But like even the fact that Alberto would visit Sophia in jail every single week, I'm like, this idiot came to jail every single week to see you? And you're just like, oh, there's like secret layers to everyone in this show.
Yeah, no character is as two-dimensional as you think they are.
Yeah, they've all got more going on than you would imagine. Because I don't even know if I'd visit you once a week in prison. Like, how far is the prison? You gotta take a boat out there.
That's a lot of work.
It's on an island.
That's a lot of work. If you had family money,
I mean,
if you're not busy working,
money doesn't give you time back.
it gives you time off.
It gives you time off. It's still like 2 hours each way.
If you had family money and weren't visiting me weekly, I think I would be upset.
Okay, it's so much travel. Like, at one point, they called Penguin out for a meeting after Alberto died, and I was so annoyed because it was so far out. Vic was driving, and he was like, we're really far out of the city. And the meeting was 30 seconds long. I'd be furious. This meeting could have been
This could have been an email. This could have been
a Zoom call or a phone call.
I mean, that's the infuriating
amount of
thing.
driving.
That's the infuriating thing about the attempt to have a lack of digital paperwork when you are in the mob, which is that there are
emails.
so many meetings that could have been an email. You think your regular job could have been an email? All of the mob meetings could have been an email, but they can't make it an email.
Oh, fuck, yeah, no paper trail. You really would have to come up with like a new language or so many code words.
There'd have to be a lot, or in-person meetings that could have been an email.
There's Zoom calls.
Yeah.
Those can also be hacked, though.
Yeah, those can also. Yeah, you can't trust that.
So I just don't. I don't think I could make it in the mob for travel reasons alone.
Well, I'm glad we figured that out.
But like, I'd see you in prison sometime.
Sometimes.
I'd go.
There's been a lot has gone on here. A lot has gone on
How
here.
often would you visit me?
Weekly.
Weekly,
Weekly,
what
for
if
sure.
You're busy. You're holding down this whole network by yourself. I'm in jail.
I'm not saying I would never miss a week, but I'm saying mostly weekly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
We'd see what happens.
We'd see what happens.
See, it won't come up, so we don't have to worry about it.
You're right. We don't have to. I agree.
Don't go to jail.
I agree. We don't have to worry about it.
If I got my license and I could drive myself, I just don't want to.
So Alberto Falcone, he's more complicated than he seems.
He is.
He's visiting his sister. He's smarter, even though he's actually pretty smart and observant, even though he's the dumb one.
He was setting up this whole drug thing with Sophia.
Absolutely.
So I like that people have multitudes in this show.
I fully agree. And Kristen Milioti is doing a phenomenal job with Sophia.
Oh my God, she's delicious in this. I could watch
Delicious.
her. I just feel like I want to say every time she's doing stuff. It just feels good.
It is delicious, isn't it?
I love seeing her on screen. I love this performance. It's layered as hell, and there's just like a touch of psychosis, but not like too much. I'm like, I don't know if she's a killer or was traumatized by someone. I actually am not sure what this whole hangman thing is about.
Oh.
It is very interesting. Yeah, I just love everything she's doing. Yeah, and it's not, and I think I've only ever seen her do like pure comedy. So, and this is like very charming kind of drama, but it's not pure comedy. And so it's really cool
personality
to see her in
to
this
it.
role. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. There is personality to it, especially as of episode 3. The more that she is building her relationship with Penguin, there are moments where I'm like sincerely into the frenemy type of scenario that they have going on.
Whatever they got going on.
But yeah, it's hard drama, and she is doing just a phenomenal job of the psychosis of it, combined with the power of it and the jealousy. There's a lot at play here. There's a lot of drama, a lot of soap opera. But she sells it in a grounded way.
It does. It doesn't feel like soap opera. Like, I believe everything that happened. Like, nothing that happened, even though this is Gotham, and Gotham can have so much over-the-top stuff happening. I'm like, this all seems pretty real and grounded, and I think I think this would happen.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, she's not Solomon Grundy. Like, I agree. There's more fantastical things happening within Gotham, but it's soap opera in the sense that it's just like, oh, I was betrayed by my family. I was in an insane asylum. I'm out. Everyone's gossiping about me. There's who's taking over the family business. It is these very heightened personal stakes. Yeah.
All right, that's heightened.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen crazy things on soap operas.
Oh, I believe that. Yes.
I used to watch Passions.
Yeah, some of them go bananas. Some of them do go bananas. But we'll see. Yeah, she's doing a phenomenal job, as is Renzi Feely's doing as Victor. Oh my God.
Oh, he's so good. He used to also be good on Runaways, but this is like a real runaway of a performance. Boom, I did it. Perfect. No, that wasn't anything. We should cut it and take it out.
Boom, I did it.
Like I'd really been working hard.
Boom, I did it. I'm going to start. That's cute as hell.
What?
That's cute as hell.
Babe, you have to make fun of me right now.
No, the joke was mid-tier and make
Yeah,
funnable.
of course.
But I want to start doing more things in life and then just going, boom, I did it.
Boom, I did
I did it. There's a pureness to that I sincerely quite enjoy.
I've got the internal confidence of the Penguin.
No,
but yeah,
Renzi Feliz as Victor.
He's wildly engaging. Every lead of this show I could watch for just hours, and every scene has at least one of them, and it makes the show so impeccably watchable that I'm just like so enthralled by his choices, the way he's just like totally wrapped up in Penguin's life, and you can feel this conflict of like, I do deserve things, but also like my parents wouldn't want this for me, but like, should I live this life? Can I even leave? He gets it all on the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just, it is these themes of poverty and choice as well, which are heavily explored, and I think is one of the more interesting potential things about Gotham in many regards, just as a city and a set piece for the place where Batman things happen, which is the idea of like, what opportunities do people have? And, the people who are Batman's villains and nemesis long term, aside from, being these heightened characters, or like a killer crocodile, or a nursery rhyme man brought back from the grave, or what have you. On top of that, it is very much these people who continue to choose crime, as opposed to being forced into crime. Like, that's the people that are the victims of what is happening in Gotham, even though they are the light perpetrators, is the people who are like, I actually don't have a lot of opportunities in this place, and what am I left to do? And portraying Victor as that off the start, and then having him choose this life in episode 3 is a very powerful move, I think, as well, and kind of shows the Breaking Bad, where we're rooting for you, not rooting for you kind of a world where it's like, that same idea of like, you're desperate, you are in dire straits, and we want you to get out of it, and you're presented with an off-ramp and you don't choose it. And that viewership, that sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach as a viewer, where you're like, oh, fuck, you didn't take the off-ramp.
Yeah, you're gonna die.
It's gonna get so much worse now.
It's gonna get so much worse. I will say I maybe wish they've given Victor kind of more of a reason to be in crime at this point, because earlier he had like a family and like they weren't making quite enough money, but they were making by. But now his entire family's been killed and his girlfriend's left town. And it's not like he's like Walter White, who has to pay medical bills for his cancer treatments. He doesn't really have, as much as there's definitely not a lot of opportunities in Gotham for actual good, honest work. Mm-hmm. It's not like he has like a moral driving force that we can get behind.
Yeah.
They've kind of, at this point in episode 3, it is really just like Vic has just chosen crime.
Yes, he has.
And it's not for any good reasons in the background.
No.
It's not like he's like what Penguin's doing, which is like paying for his wife, for his mom, which isn't like why he's doing all this. It's just a nice thing he's doing in the background.
That's just making him a 3-dimensional character. Yeah.
But he doesn't have any support system that he's like doing this for. And I kind of wish they'd maybe left him at least like 1 or 2 family members.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I can agree with you that like if he was the lead character, he would need more of a push and pull between that world. As the kind of secondary to Penguin, I like how quickly this has happened, and I understand and I kind of like how clean his storyline is while still being a 3-dimensional person. And there's still the more complicated questions of, like, even though he does choose it, he is a young person who has been enticed by this life with very little opportunity. And then obviously, like, his first experiences with wealth and comfort are this. So why move somewhere that he doesn't know with, the support of his girlfriend, but no family and no money and no job, versus a job and the first taste of comfort and frankly safety that he's ever had in his life. So I think there are still some complicated conversations to have, even though he doesn't have that silhouette of a moral backbone to lean against.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything that would make Batman feel bad about beating him up for.
Yes,
like
I
where
agree.
Batman would like show up at his house to get information and be like, "Oh no, you secretly take care of your sister," or he would just be like, "No, I'm gonna beat you up, Victor."
Yep. He would beat him up. He'd
He
be
would
like,
just beat him up.
he wouldn't learn Victor's name.
He knows. He would know the Penguin secondhand, man.
Oh, you know what? After a while, he would know the Penguin second.
Not today.
Not today.
Not this week. By the end of the season.
By the end of this season.
Well, not Robert Pattinson's Batman. That guy's a mess.
He's figuring some stuff out. He blew it, huh?
Animated series Batman would know his name.
Yes.
But yeah, Robert Pattinson fucked this city hard.
He blew it by not stopping the Riddler quick enough.
Holy shit, this town is destroyed.
Yeah, the Riddler wrecked it.
Not usually what the Riddler does.
Yeah, but the Riddler absolutely
I think in
wrecked
this
it.
show, more than watching the movie, it's like, oh, Gotham's done.
Yes, this is off the map. This is bad.
I don't know how you even built a town inside a river. Like, why was the wall holding back so much water? How did the town get built?
Seawalls are important like that. It's all messed up.
Is it because the water gets higher and lower? But like, when would you have built?
I'm not a civil engineer.
We got to get Craig Fay here
We've
right
got to
now.
get some kind of a city planner in here to
knows
figure out
stuff.
how. That actually would be a fun conversation. Talking to a city planner about different versions of Gotham and to be like, what is even going on here?
Is it New York or not?
What city is this? What does this look like? Does this structurally work? How are the trains are above ground? The pipes are everywhere. Scarecrow gas
So
is
much
coming out of it.
steam.
The sewers also go on for 9 days underground somehow. Talking to a city planner about Gotham, I think, would be like a fun little sidestep, But yeah, Batman blew it on this one.
Batman blew it on this. Here's another thing I'll say about this show that I really like since we're on Batman. There are like no Easter eggs or little name drops.
Nothing.
And this is a show about Penguin. We only mentioned Batman in the previously on with the news reporters. He hasn't brought up Batman again since.
Yeah.
This is after the movie. There's been no Batman. There's been no Joker. There's been no Riddler. I don't even
No
think they've-
Catwoman.
No Catwoman. Not even like no other name drops unless Victor is going to become Mr. Freeze or something, and that's who this guy is. But I don't think he is.
I don't think so either.
I don't think we live in a world where Mr. Freeze is going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that's like, it's made me really relaxed. It makes the show not feel like homework that I'm going to like when you're watching like a CW show, but there's 4 current CW shows about superheroes, and you're like, you're going to drop a name, I'm not going to know, and I'm going to have to Google it, and I'm going to do this. I'm just watching the fucking Penguin, and I love it.
I love it too, and it also means that they're not doing what you're saying. Yes, the deep cut lore drops that you need to Google to make it homework. They're also not doing the big picture stuff that is also just a fucking waste, which some things do. They're not doing a Snyder Justice League. It's Jimmy Olsen. He's a terrorist. He got shot. Who gives a shit? Jimmy Olsen was here. That's a name from the comics, and it's like, I guess, what's any of this?
They're not just destroying canon characters.
Yeah, they're not Joker 2 being like, the district attorney's Harvey Dent. That's the name of the guy from the comics. Are we doing anything with that? No. Does it mean anything to anyone? No. Does it have any kind of purpose or function? No. So the show's just like, I don't know, it's Penguin. Penguin's talking to some people. Gunshots happen. That was bad. It's Penguin. And I love that.
Yeah,
I love
the
it.
Falcones and the Maronis are the only names I know in this.
It's not up its own ass.
It's not up. It's like, this show's about Penguin. Forget everybody else.
Just don't even worry about
Be
it.
as locked in as Colin Farrell's The Penguin is, and just watch The Penguin. And it feels really nice. It also makes me wonder, though, I'm like, but would there be Easter eggs if there were any other shows planned? Which I don't think there are.
Yeah, I don't know. That is a tough
The
one.
only other show planned is maybe they're still doing Green Lantern, and that will not connect to this
Yeah,
universe
no,
for sure.
In no way or how or why. No. I think the only thing that I'm not sure if it's meant to be a thematic connection, and it might be me stretching and me thinking just thematically, but it is the fact that the way that Penguin meets his driver, the other lead of the show, Vic, is that Vic and some other kids are trying to steal the wheels off of his car, or the hubcaps, but trying to steal the wheels off of his car, which in the comics is how Jason Todd meets Batman. Is that Batman's parked in a bad area of town. And Jason Todd tries to steal the wheels off of the Batmobile, and then Batman coming back grumpily is what starts that mentorship between the two of them.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not sure if this is kind of coincidental, or purposeful. It's on that sweet spot of like, it's kind of the same enough that it might be purposeful, but if a writer of the show was like, no, we just had him stealing a car because it was convenient in that scene and there's no deeper meaning, I could also see that as well. But if there is a deeper meaning, I feel like it really has something to say just about wealth and opportunity. The fact that two people can do the exact same thing and then go down completely different walks of life depending on who gives you an opportunity or chance. And that actually just says a lot about the chaos of the world and whether a rich or a poor person tries to give you a helping hand and what life that's going to lead you in.
Or whether it's a good rich person or a bad rich person.
I guess
the
that's
Penguin's
true.
actually pretty well
He's
off.
he's not Bruce Wayne
no,
rich.
he's not Bruce Wayne rich, but he's offering him money and comforts.
Yeah. He has $1,000 in his pocket. He doesn't have generational wealth.
Does not have. He has the opposite. He's trying to get that good generation. He's trying to start the generational wealth.
So I do wonder if the parallel between Vic and Jason Todd are meant to be a
It's
thing.
a really nice parallel if it is purposeful, because there's also this is so far out, but everyone always is rumored from the beginning that Batman 2 will have a Robin, and it would be very interesting if his Robin was doing the exact same thing.
Yeah. To be there's just something kind of quietly sad about that.
Yeah,
to be
you don't have any choice of your fate.
Yeah. Who, if you have potential, who is it that seizes that potential from you?
Yeah, you can't choose who sees you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's sad.
So
A little tragic.
Yeah, that's the only kind of comic booky thing that I've noticed that was going on. The fact that Penguin's home and operation runs out of a jewelry store that is Burgess Jewelry.
Yes, Burgess Jewelry. That's that's a very small one, but it's lovely. Yeah.
It is. I agree. It's quite small. It has no effect on plot in either way, but it doesn't get in the way, and it's just sweet and kind-hearted.
It's sweet and kind. So Burgess Meredith was the original Penguin on the Batman 66 show. He was wonderful. He was so good.
Wonderful.
He was so good.
Wonderful and terrific. Just a phenomenal actor. Yeah. So that's a little
The
Easter egg.
tiniest Easter egg. We're not going to complain about that. What I was going to say, since we're slightly on Batman, is the lack of Batman I do find really nice for other reasons. I like just kind of seeing the Penguin's life without Batman, because everything is always through Batman's lens. And I've always watched the cartoons or the movies or the shows, and then Batman shows up and he beats up Penguin's guys. And Penguin always is like, "What are you doing here?" And it always feels like it should be Penguin, you should be ready at all times for the Batman to be here. But I like watching the show and being like, no, Penguin's got a lot of shit that he's dealing with. He would be really annoyed if Batman just showed up and unprepared for it. And it's just so interesting to see his full perspective. And that seems like the lamest, most basic bitch thing you can say about a show about a villain. But it really is oh yeah, Batman is really just messing up your whole business.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just fun for me. I'm just picturing
But he adapts on the fly.
He does adapt on the fly. But yeah, every time they're doing something illegal, I'm like, Batman could just come through the ceiling at any moment. And it would fit perfectly with the universe.
It would. It really would.
So I kind of get why it's shocking when he does do that.
Yeah.
Having actually seen scenes where he doesn't.
Because
I never see scenes where he doesn't come in through a window.
You need to see the window. It's like jazz. You need to see the windows he's not shattering.
A little bit.
Because the majority of the time, no one smashes through the roof.
But it doesn't feel feel like that to me.
Yeah,
from Batman's
to you, it feels like every roof in Gotham is getting smashed in every second by the Batman.
Every nightclub is getting bashed for drugs, and he's showing up and he's beating up your hench guys. Like, there never should be a party happening because he comes and he interrupts it, but he doesn't.
No.
So many parties happen.
No. Yeah, like I think that like this show wouldn't do it because like there's not enough built up and it doesn't quite work that way and it would frankly distract. But like I like the idea. Comedically, I like the idea of a Gotham where it's like it's this show, it's Penguin doing some shit. It's him and like the Falcones and the Maronis are having a gang war or whatever, and they're like, we got to move these drops from this location to that location. Is it going to be? And they like look into the distance and they see like Batman is like riding Man-Bat and punching him in the head, but like blocks away. And they're like, I think we're good tonight, boys. Like, you know, that idea of like, you see the silhouette of Batman fighting Firefly in the distance or whatever the fuck. And you're like, all right, we're good, actually. We're good. We're good for tonight.
Yeah, when you're those lower level, like actual crime people, you got to be like, I'm so glad there's the weirdos who can really distract him for a couple nights.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
the bigger picture guy, not bigger picture, but like a bigger fight.
Yeah. More insane. Bigger insanity.
Yeah. Man-Bat is eating people, and I'm just moving some drugs.
Yeah. It's a crocodile, and he's a man. Get him, Batman.
He's speaking.
Even if you're a thug, you've got to be like, get him, Batman. He's a crocodile man.
This really does explain why, like, Batman will actually just go to other criminals to rat other criminals out. Like, he'll just be like, Penguin, where the hell is Killer Croc? He's like, he's not here, so get out.
Get out.
My crime.
Another thing that I really just like about just the writing and style of the show is, and is the realism of it in terms of just how chaotic it all is, how messy organized crime, how disorganized organized crime is, which I think is kind of something that it has in common thematically with like The Sopranos and with shows of that ilk, to be like, it's messy, it's disorganized, it's emotional, there's a lot going on, and that makes it feel realer than your traditional comic book villain. Because one thing that I think is a pet peeve for both of us in comic books is whenever there's the type of villain who's like, everything went exactly as I planned, even when it looked like I was failing. I Ocean's 11'd you or whatever the fuck.
Oh, Vandal Savage ass.
Your Vandal Savage ass motherfuckers out there.
Yeah.
Your Ra's al Ghul, your Ra's al Ghul.
Oh, Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul is like, yeah, you stopped me, but that was part of my plan to make everyone better in 10 years?
You stopped this plan, but in 10 years, you wait.
You wait. The structural integrity of that building won't last. What are you talking about, Rach?
Yeah. All the Immortals are always the worst for it.
Yeah.
The Immortals just...
They're like, this is all part of the plan. But there's something about this show where it's just like Penguin having a really smart plan and it only ever taking one thing to go even slightly weird to show how all plans fall apart completely, of him being like trying to play the Falcones and the Maronis off of each other for this like moving of their drop factory, their drug factory, and him being like, I'll be in the back car. And then someone showing up last minute who outranks him is like, get in the middle car. I don't give a shit. Get in the middle car. And that ruins everything.
Everything. Now he's going to get shot because he told the Maronis to just shoot this car up that's full of drugs.
Yeah.
He's going to die.
And even then, it almost gets like fixed, except for the fact that the driver isn't fully killed and has 1 second of like, Penguin, you son of a bitch. And then now Penguin has to completely flip sides again in order to sell it. So just how quickly things go wrong, I really love.
It is fun how quickly they go wrong. But it also feels like, as much as it feels chaotic, it doesn't feel like it's always this way. Like, you do feel the vacuum of the gang war. You're like, Carmen Falcone really was running a tight ship. And everyone's just like going for scraps now that he's dead. Like, you feel like this family wasn't always like this, or they would be destroyed, or the crime world would not have held up this well. Yeah, I'm very curious when we're going to get some kind of Falcone flashback. Because I don't know if you noticed this. So from the movie to the television show, in the movie, Carmine Falcone was played by John Turturro. Phenomenal actor. Okay. Did a terrific job. Okay. In the television show, they're like,
they're like, Carmine Falcone died, and they show a bunch of photos from a like portfolio or like a crime profile folio of like Carmine Falcone. And it's been recast. It's Mark Strong playing Carmine Falcone.
I saw it on IMDb. It was him, but I couldn't actually remember who played Carmine Falcone in the movie.
It was John Turturro.
Okay.
So, but like, you don't recast Mark Strong for photographs.
No.
So I'm like, when are we getting the fucking So I'm wondering what's going to be happening with Carmine Falcone down the road. If it's just flashbacks, if it's a like, I wasn't really dead, because I can't even remember how he dies in the movie.
He's killed when he like leaves the he's like, is he going into custody? He's leaving the club, and Batman's like right there, and everyone can see him. Batman doesn't kill him, but it's just a very funny scene of like, was Batman standing right there?
Right there when he died? Okay. Well, I don't remember. So I wonder if it's going to be like a fake death or if it's going to be a flashback thing.
I feel like it'll probably be a flashback to all Sophia's stuff.
I think so, yeah.
There seems to have been some betrayals and such.
And we've now established kind of a flashback format with the way that Vic kind of started off episode 3, which was a powerful and good flashback.
Yeah, that was pretty. I liked that a lot.
Well, I'm feeling pretty good about the Penguin. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. Can I have one more quick goof?
Of course. I would never deny you a goof.
Thank you. It's one quick goof, and I think it's the show's goof, because everything is so tight about this show. You're right. They're like, things go wrong, but they go wrong in a way that you're like, oh, you had to kill that guy. Believable, grounded. I think the only part of this show that has been like actually silly for me was Penguin had to kill like one of the Maroney's guys in the basement.
Yeah.
So he went and he stabbed him, and he was like, you can't rat me out. I'm going to have to stab you and kill you. And then the Falcones are like, who killed that guy? Everyone stand against the wall. And if you have a knife, you did it. And I'm like, every one of these fuckers would have a knife. What are you talking about?
I agree.
This was the least detective work I've ever seen. For Sophia to kill her like main guy over like having a knife, I think was very ridiculous, especially because I really liked that guy.
Yeah, and that guy probably also already had a knife.
That's the thing. Did you have to plant a knife on him? I bet he had a knife. I can't believe more of the people against the wall didn't have knives. I mean, they do seem to be a gun-based society.
I was going to say they definitely are gun-based, but I'm like, you're telling me that your number one has never had to like open an Amazon package for you? You know what I mean? Like these guys have at a Leatherman. Like, I'm saying that like any of these like I'm the tough guy dudes who have a gun and are in charge of like the estate, they have a pocket knife, a Leatherman. There's something in there that they need to open a box or do a repair or stab someone or a silent kill.
Kills are very important.
Sure.
He tries to kill Penguin with wire. You're telling me he doesn't have a knife?
It's true. Yeah, that's true. They have razor wire.
They have accoutrements
spindles.
Of killing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I felt bad for that guy because I support any henchman who happily works for a female gangster.
Oh, that's nice.
See, like, that's what was so sad about it. He was like, he loved working for Sophia. He was loyal.
He was loyal to her.
To a lady gangster.
I did like the mislead of Penguin starting the fight, and you're thinking it's going to be on the other guy.
On Johnny Vitti, but it was.
But it wasn't on Vitti. It was when they pulled him off. He slipped it into the bodyguards.
Sneaky son of a bitch.
That's quite smart. I like it a lot. He's a clever son of a bitch. That Penguin. Well, let's go in for the close. Let's ask the final question of what would you change. So now that we've discussed everything about this, what would you change about it if you could change anything? Before we do ask that final question, we want to let you know about one of our other sponsors of today's episode. We want to let you know about our friends over at Mint Mobile.
Mint Mobile, they're your friends because they're going to get you a wireless plan for $15 a month.
Woo!
That's pretty great.
Now, what hoops do I have to jump through to get this?
You have to go to a website that's super easy to use. Just like one button. Well, like 3 buttons, but really, really good ones.
But really, where they should be.
They're where they should be. They're clearly marked. No fine print.
Right.
Just like, there you go.
Zero hoops. I'm gonna say zero hoop. Just a website.
A really good functioning website.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. It's very easy. It's very simple. So, like, really, all you got to do is you go to mintmobile.com/TFS.
So you know it.
Yeah, I know all about it. And right now, all 3-month plans are only $15 a month, including the unlimited plan. All their plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring over your phone number and make everything just nice and simple and smooth. You can keep everything the same.
No hoops. They can send you an eSIM or they can send you a SIM card in the mail. All the options.
Yeah, everything will be the same except for the incredible price that you're going to get. That's going to be better.
Love
but
that.
the phone number, that can be the same.
That can be the same.
Price, that can be better.
Damn. These are good changes.
Yeah.
Sometimes change is good.
Yeah, it's some change. You know what? Some change is good.
Change is good.
You can find out how easy it is to switch to Mint Mobile and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/TFS. That's mintmobile.com/TFS. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/TFS. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. And thank you, Mint Mobile, for your support.
Thank you so much, Mint Mobile.
And as well, we will remind you before we get into our final question, if you haven't already, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Addict, or wherever you get your podcasts. It helps support the show. It helps us find new listeners. It warms our hearts, and we appreciate it greatly. And that's a free way to support the show. If you do want to support the show monetarily, you can do that over on Patreon, which is a monthly subscription service where you can subscribe at whatever is in your budget, get cool bonuses for doing so. $1 a month gets you our webcomic a day early. $3 a month gets you these episodes early and ad-free, and $10 a month gets you an exclusive bonus episode of this podcast every single month. This month, we're going to be doing the new Hellboy movie.
The Crooked
Man?
Was that the title?
That's the confidence we're going to be bringing.
If you haven't heard of this, it was supposed to go to theaters, and they sent it straight to video on demand.
And guess who's very curious about why they did that? It's us. We would like to find out why they did that.
Unfortunately, it's us.
So we're going to find out why they did that and then talk all about it. We're going to find out why. And that will be this month's exclusive episode. But when you sign up at the $10 hero level, you get immediate access to the full back catalog of episodes as well. Check out all of the options over at patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. That is patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. And now let's go in for the close. Let's ask the final question of what would you change about this? If you could change anything, Diana, what would you change?
One of my changes is a thing I mentioned earlier. You kind of talked me out of it a little bit, but I do still feel strongly that I think Vic should have kind of a moral compass reason to keep going to crime. I think it really helps humanizing him, even if he is a side character. I don't really care. I also am worried about how few characters are in this show. And by worried, I mean I'm not worried enough, because I know Vic, Sophia, and the Penguin won't die. And the other characters are bad guys. These are also 3 bad guys, but they're bad guys I care about. So I actually kind of think this show needs a few more characters, especially because his girlfriend left, and I thought she was going to stay and be like a character I'd worry about things happening to. Because I don't really worry about any of those 3 mains. So I would like if one family member at least, or his girlfriend, still stuck around to be like, I'm doing this for them. And he would be lying to himself probably, but it gives him, I think, more of an interesting thing to play with as the story goes on. And then my other change is kind of a weird one. I just feel like Gotham doesn't feel kind of dirty and wrecked enough for me. Like when they really want to show it, like when they show the flooding and the water coming in, you're like, oh yeah, Gotham got wrecked. But I don't feel like anyone looks like they're in like awful clothes. I know these are like the monsters we're mostly dealt with, but we still see other people around. Like the fact that his girlfriend was like, I live in a FEMA encampment. I'm like, you don't look like it. You're makeuped to hell. Your hair looks great. You're in brand new clothes. I don't think the show's done a good job of making Gotham feel like it's on the outs. Like everything is ruined except all the stuff the mobsters are doing. So I just kind of want a grittier, like more desperate feeling Gotham. And so it would just be small changes, I think, mostly to actors of like they have to be a little bit more worn down, a little bit more messy, not quite as put together. So just small changes for the Penguin because it's a very, very good show. So just little edits. Andrew, what would you change?
I really like that. I'm definitely on board for that. I think that set-wise, it does look dirty, but I think that costume-wise, it doesn't. It doesn't feel.
The people don't feel dirty.
I agree. It doesn't feel it. The stores and the places do feel it, but it doesn't. It doesn't look it sometimes.
Yeah, they don't. The characters don't look lived in the world.
Yeah. No, I can buy into that. I think that for me, I would say that in terms of how devastated Gotham is and versus how nice the outskirts are, I kind of want something to be explored as to like why that is, like why there is no crawl out of the downtown core, why it's like, well, it's still nice across the river, and that's where like the Falcone's mansion are. And I understand that idea where they're like, oh, it's the the people in impoverished neighborhoods are the one that were hit the hardest and are receiving the least assistance, and people who are financially well off are still well off. I kind of want to see something with like, well, we've got corrupt cops like working the bridge. If like even so much as one homeless person wanders in the wrong neighborhood, they're just getting thrown in jail. Like that level of like, no, we've protected ourselves. It's not just like we have wealth. I want to kind of show like them to show the ugly side of like how all of these wealthy neighborhoods have protected their wealth because right now it's just an invisible line.
It feels like it's happening naturally somehow.
Yeah.
Without any like pushback.
Yeah. With no pushback, with no corruption in a place that is wildly corrupt. So I think there just needs to be, and I think that could be like an interesting thing to explore as well, to be how it is that these nice areas are nice and that the poor areas are not moving over or affecting them in any way whatsoever. But that's just a thought. Other than that, like that's me reaching because I had a really good time watching the show. Like I'm straining to give you that.
Absolutely. I mean, we had to do a bunch of goofs about Batman to even just not compliment the show for an hour straight.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that though.
And nothing. And
what a nice release of like, oh, you just liked a thing a lot. And I love that feeling.
Dare you to tell me something wrong with that. I dare you.
Don't wish ill upon us. We're going to watch Hellboy the Crooked Man, you guys.
It's all a rich tapestry. And that is going to do it for this week for talking about the Penguin. We will be back next week on the podcast. Next week, we're taking a fun little detour. Next week, we're talking about Star Trek Nemesis.
Woohoo!
And Diana, tell the people why we're talking about Star Trek Nemesis.
We're talking about Star Trek Nemesis because it is a Tom Hardy movie, and the week after that is Venom 3, and we've done the other Venoms. So yeah. It was a very fun discussion with Andrew when we were going through, and we're like, what are other Tom Hardy movies? And I'm like, well, it's Star Trek Nemesis. And Andrew thought he probably had like an eighth build role, and I'm like, he's the Nemesis.
I didn't realize he was the Nemesis.
He's the titular Nemesis.
He's the titular Nemesis. That must have been like one of his first starring roles.
He's gonna
look a baby boy in that, isn't he?
You're gonna be like, what a baby boy.
Yeah, it'd be like they made Wesley Crusher the Nemesis. That's how baby a boy he will look.
That is going to be a fun time. I have not seen this movie in a while, but it's gonna, it's like Tom Hardy as a bad guy, and then he's Venom, also kind of a bad guy. It's levels. Guys, we work really hard on this schedule.
We work hard on our schedule. So we're going to be talking about Star Trek Nemesis next week on the podcast. In the meantime, if you want to get a hold of us, you can find me most places at Ivimey, Ivimey.
You can find me at Words of Diana on Twitter and Tumblr, Pics of Diana on Threads and Instagram.
And you can find both of us most places at From Superheroes, and you can check out everything we create over on our website, fromsuperheroes.com, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
Bye.